A tragedy at Antioch High School, a middle school student makes a violent threat on social media, and the creation of a new Tennessee immigration bill.
We will have all that and more on this episode of APSU TV News. Welcome back to your APSU TV News. I'm Baylor Betts. For many Antioch High School parents, sending their students back to school on Tuesday was tough. Like many students, Kellen Tabor and his brother Riker returned to Antioch High School Tuesday, 6 days after the deadly shooting. Kellen told WKRN-TV it is very traumatizing to go back to where it all started because they still have it closed off where you can't go near the area because they're still investigating around there. Kellen went on to say his friends were not happy about returning back to class either. However, students are not going back to their regular classes or lunch breaks. The school is prioritizing focusing on the students' mental health since the tragedy. On Tuesday afternoon, students led a rally on the football field to honor 16-year-old Jocelyn Escalante, who was killed in the shooting. Students also called for change, and several state and city workers spoke at the event.
A Clarksville middle school student faces criminal charges after making a violent threat on social media. Police say a New Providence middle school student posted a threat of mass violence on Instagram. Authorities quickly identified the individual who say confessed to the act. Officials will not say who the student is. Clarksville Montgomery County Schools have a zero-tolerance policy for such threats, which can lead to expulsion. President Melanie Steinledge emphasized the seriousness of making threats, noting that even those claimed as jokes can carry severe consequences. She urged parents to discuss the gravity of such actions with their children and monitor their online activities. The school has since increased law enforcement presence to ensure the safety of students and staff. Tennessee lawmakers are pushing a new immigration bill that could have real impacts on students, workers, and local communities. Governor Bill Lee's special session entered its second day as the bill to create centralized immigration enforcement division moved closer to passing. The legislation will require the Department of Safety to oversee state and local cooperation with federal immigration authorities. But if this bill becomes law, non-citizens will only be issued a temporary driver's license instead of standard ones. That means international students, workers, and residents on visas may have to go through additional steps to prove that they are eligible for things like employment and housing applications. The proposal also prevents temporary licenses from being used as voter IDs. Lawmakers also want to remove the so-called sanctuary policies. Local officials in support of them could face fines or even removal from office.
Soldiers with the 101st Airborne Division are now hard at work at the U.S. southern border. A news release from Fort Campbell says the troops are supporting the U.S. Northern Command's mission, quote, to protect the territorial integrity of the United States, end quote. The 716th Military Police members conducting a patching ceremony donning the Screaming Eagle patch before they left for their assignment. The troops will integrate the military forces already along the border and work together with the Department of Homeland Security and Customs and Border Protection. Officers want to talk to a man who left the scene of a shooting that left a person critically injured on Nashville's south side. Metro Police say shots were fired at around Tuesday, 7 o'clock Tuesday evening on Wallace Road, just south of Harding Place. Investigators say a man wearing red shorts with black pants underneath opened fire on another person, shooting them in the chest before he fled on foot. Emergency crews took to the victim to a local hospital.
Just last night, Republican lawmakers approved a $447 million statewide publicly funded voucher program. After just over 90 minutes of a debate, the Senate passed the bill in 20-13 vote. The new taxpayer-funded Education Freedom Scholarship Program will offer 20,000 scholarships of about $7,300 to Tennessee students enrolled in public schools and those already attending a private institution within the state. The bill will now be handed over Governor Bill Lee, where the Tennessean expects him to sign the bill. The Tennessee Department of Education will begin to implement the bill almost immediately after Bill Lee signs it, hoping to get it running by the 2025-2026 school year. It's now the deadliest aviation disaster in almost a quarter of a century. All 67 people aboard of the American Airlines regional jet and U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter that collided mid-air Wednesday night after presumed dead. Leaving communities grieving as we all learn more about the victims, the NTSB and first responders continue to look for evidence and answers. Michael Yoshida is in the Reagan National Airport in Washington with the latest.
Ian was just a ball of vibrant, colorful energy. Ian definitely was the greatest example, one of the greatest examples of appreciation of loving his job, loving people.
Friends and families are remembering those who tragically lost their lives in the mid-air collision over the Potomac River Wednesday night. From those who are insured with transporting others safely,
despite the tragedy, that he was doing something he was good at, that he loved, and that's what I'll remember him.
To legendary skaters who dedicated their lives to a sport they loved.
And one thing that I will always remember is they were both so kind.
In total, 67 people were killed when an American Airlines flight from Wichita, Kansas, and an Army helicopter on a training mission collided over Washington, D.C. before crashing into the river below. Officials say there are no survivors. Douglas Lane was watching his son and wife's flight back from a youth figure skating development camp when he saw the news.
It seemed like the flight had landed, but their phones weren't on and they weren't popping up anywhere.
The National Transportation and Safety Board, which is leading the investigation into the disaster, says both the plane's flight data and voice recorders, known as black boxes from the plane, have been found, hoping to get answers as to why this tragedy happened.
The most important thing out of all of this investigation is we learn what happened and then make recommendations so that it doesn't happen again.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
We will be back with the Political Corner right after this short break.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. As veterans, we can tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. But you've never been interested in easy. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's so good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey everyone, I'm Baylor and welcome back to the Political Corner. Hamas plans to let go 3 Israelis and 5 Thai nationals for their next hostage release. The release would maintain the momentum of the ceasefire responsible for pausing the 15-month conflict in the Middle East. Hamas and Israel have been slowly exchanging their prisoners of war. This temporary truce has shed light on the extensive damage throughout Gaza. President Donald Trump's recommendation is for Egypt and Jordan to rehome the Palestinians. Both countries declined this offer, and the Palestinians share concerns about losing their homeland. Egypt's president is in support of establishing a Palestinian statehood. Local health authorities say more than 47,000 Palestinians have died during the ongoing war. Many Palestinians fear they will never be permitted to return home if they choose to leave now. Immigration activists, pro-Palestinian, and other groups gathered last Saturday afternoon in Chicago to push back against President Donald Trump and his administration. Evelyn Holmes reports.
Outrage turns to action as a coalition of the community take to the streets to express their anger over the policies of a second Trump administration.
I just think it's really important to have solidarity, especially at times like these, regardless of what's happened in the past. I think what's done is done.
The People's March for Justice was originally scheduled as a counter-inauguration protest, but was postponed because of extreme weather. Hundreds gathered at Chicago's Water Tower Park.
We are really showing that working people are united to oppose fascism, to oppose racism, to oppose his co-president Elon Musk making Nazi salutes at the inauguration.
Some of the group's over 60 organizations are demanding the Trump administration focus on immediate aid to Gaza and an independent state for the Palestinian people.
So we are happy about the ceasefire. Thank God the bloodshed stopped. But we are concerned about liberation of Palestine.
Others here are concerned about the mass deportations promised and how they will affect those with temporary protected immigration status.
They make a big mistake by voting for Trump because Trump, he's a liar.
The march trekked down Michigan Avenue and swelled to about 1,000 people before staging another rally across the river from Trump Tower.
The Trump administration launched an immigration enforcement blitz in Chicago on Sunday. It includes several federal agencies that have been granted additional authority to arrest undocumented immigrants in the United States. The Trump administration is rescinding its order to freeze federal loans and grants less than 24 hours after the order was issued. The week kicked off with the administration sending an internal memorandum saying, in effect, hundreds of government programs were being placed under review and in the interim, federal and would be frozen. By Tuesday, the order has caused widespread panic and confusion across the country, and a federal judge temporarily blocked part of it. Then on Wednesday, the White House Office of Management and Budget rescinding the move that would have potentially impacted millions of people and trillions of dollars. Sherelle Hubbard has the latest on this story as it unfolds.
In an address, President Donald Trump attempting to justify a policy that sent much of the country into a temporary tailspin.
Only for us to quickly look at the scams, dishonesty, waste, and abuse that's taken place in our government for too long.
The Trump administration released a 2-line memo repealing the order that halted funds for some federal grants and loans, but not before lawsuits were filed against it by at least 22 states and several nonprofits.
We saw what happens when Americans fight back against disastrous policies.
Senate Democrats sharply criticized the Trump administration's freeze, which was promised to have zero impact on programs like Social Security and Medicare, but reportedly froze funds for programs such as Medicaid and Head Start.
Never in my time in the Senate have I seen a president cause so much chaos and panic and damage in such a short amount of time.
Some lawmakers have said that the move was unconstitutional.
But he cannot wake up one day and withhold trillions of dollars of spending.
Wednesday, after the order was rescinded, President Trump claimed the short-lived freeze and review process did yield results.
As was explicitly stated, in that process we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas.
But some in Washington called the president's claim a lie, while others said there was no record of such an expenditure. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer made a call to action Wednesday to rescind Russell Vaught's nomination for the Office of Management and Budget. Well, that's all the time I have for you guys today here in the Political Corner. Stay tuned for the weather right after this short break.
Black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Thanks for sticking us for the weather. I'm Alga Dangerfield. Looking at our current national temperatures, we have a pretty warm day sitting in the southern eastern region. We have Atlanta sitting at 60. We move up to the Midwest. We have Denver at 47. Chicago's around 39. And New York and the Northeast is sitting at a 44. If you come all the way to the west side, California and Los Angeles sitting about a 57. Today's highs for Montgomery County, like I said, we have a pretty low 60s. We're sitting at a 61 degrees right now. Around 3 p.m., there's about a 65% chance of rain, so I would definitely look forward towards that. And coming with that is our wind speed sitting at 11 miles per hour. Tonight's temperatures, we have a lower temperature sitting at 53 degrees. Not a lot of wind speed, so that's a great thing for us. And a 15% chance, I would expect a little bit more just from yesterday, rained all day. And then the current or 5-day temperatures, we have Friday. Friday, like I said, it's going to have a little bit of rain. Highs and lows are 63 and 45, and then we move into the weekend where the sun will come out, but later on Sunday. Monday, we have the clouds that come right back in, and Tuesday, we'll have a little bit more rain. This is all we have today for your local and national weather. APSU will be returning right after this break with Hugh for your campus sports.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
Hello, I'm Hugh Wheeler. Here is the latest in Clarksville sports. Austin Peay basketball splits 2 overtime games this week to move to 4-5 in conference play. The Governors lost to North Alabama 84-88 on Saturday before knocking off Bellarmine last night 86-77. APSU travels to Richmond, Kentucky tomorrow to take on the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. Lady Govs basketball dropped their last 2 games and fell to 10-10 on the year with a 5-4 conference record. Austin Peay lost at home to Atlantic Sun runner-up Central Arkansas 50-51 last Saturday. Then after that, after the Bears had taken a lead with a minute left remaining. Stashville began a road trip, though, in Florida in Stetson early yesterday with a 63-79 point loss. Sophomore Lanaya Foster and freshman Samaya Wyatt each had 27 points and 12 rebounds between their last 2 games. The Governors take on ASUN leader Florida Gulf Coast in Fort Myers tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. APSU rounds out their road trip in Charlotte, North Carolina with Queens next Thursday. Govs Hockey Club heads to Alabama this weekend for their last 2 regular season road games against the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. APSU forward Jackson Smith ties in 5th in goals across College Hockey South Division III with 15 so far this season. The Ice Govs have 3 games scheduled at home to round out the CHS calendar after this weekend. The puck drops 15 minutes before 9 tonight and 15 minutes after 3 tomorrow afternoon. Clarksville's Red River Spartans lost 1-5 and 2-8 to Midwest Division leader Fort Wayne Spacemen last Friday and Saturday in Indiana. Red River forward Braden Gonclave sits tied for 14th in points in the United States Hockey Premier League this season with 65 in 34 games. The Spartans take on North Division leader Minnesota Squatch at the Ford Ice Center tonight at 8 and tomorrow night at 7. Austin Peay men's tennis dropped their first 2 matches of the year last Friday, 1-6 in Bowling Green, Kentucky to Tennessee Tech then at Belmont in Nashville on Saturday, 0-7. Stashville loses its 11th straight spring season contest with the loss on Saturday. APSU's last win came on March 12th of last year. The Govs take this weekend off before traveling to Evansville, Indiana to take on Oakland City and Brescia on February 8th. Lady Govs tennis fell last night to Louisiana Tech 0-6 in Paducah, Kentucky. The Governors take on Southeast Missouri State today and Murray State tomorrow to round out their first weekend. APSU track and field travels to Louisville, Kentucky this weekend for the Lenny Lyles Invitational. That's all for sports. I'm Hugh Wheeler. We'll be back with more news after these messages.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this. Okay, Grandma. I see you.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. It keeps you, your community, and loved ones protected. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Dolly Parton is busy promoting the premiere of her new original musical, Dolly. The musical opens at Belmont University this summer. Dolly will play a 4-week limited engagement at Belmont with performances beginning July 1st. Dolly was at the Fisher Center for the Performing Arts on campus to announce her upcoming dates before the show hits its Broadway debut in 2026. Tickets for the original musical will begin at $40. Dolly was born and raised in East Tennessee. She acknowledges Nashville as her musical home for more than 60 years. The musical will include some of her biggest hits and new songs. From Gucci to St. Laurent, a new shopping option is coming to Middle Tennessee. WKRN TV reports real estate developer Simon has agreed to buy land in Williamson County to develop a new luxury shopping center. Nashville Premium Outlets will be built at the Interstate 65 intersection and I-840. Plans include 75 retailers, restaurants, and a hotel with the potential to add residential areas, big box retailers, and more. Construction on the 325,000 square foot mixed-use center is expected to begin next year.
Speaking of shopping, Tennessee lawmakers are looking at a new bill to aim at addressing organized retail crime. Legislators tell WKRN TV that large-scale theft rings are costing businesses millions and putting employees and shoppers at risk. If the bill passed, would increase penalties for those involved in coordinated retail theft, making it easier to prosecute offenders operating in criminal networks. Supporters argue that this will help businesses recover losses and improve safety in stores. Critics worry that the new law could lead to harsher sentencing without addressing the root causes of theft, such as economic hardship. Retailers are already struggling with inflation and inventory loss, and this legislation could have a major impact on prices, job security, and shopping experiences across the state. A Chinese AI startup company called DeepSeek is making waves in the tech industry, posing a potential challenge to American dominance in artificial intelligence. DeepSeek has developed an AI model, DeepSeek R1, that rivals from the best of OpenAI, Google, and Meta. CNN reports DeepSeek spent more than $5 million to power its models. That's lower than the billions spent by U.S. companies. What's more, China has been under strict U.S. chip restrictions for years, yet DeepSeek was still able to pull this off. The company was founded just a year ago by Liang Wenfeng, now referred to as China's Sam Altman. Its AI app is soaring in popularity, surpassing ChatGPT in downloads this week. AI is expensive, and U.S. companies are pouring billions into AI development. Meta alone plans to spend $65 billion this year. The fact that a Chinese startup company can match capabilities at a fraction of the cost raises big concerns about the future of AI dominance. Some analysts say DeepSeek's low-cost claim is impressive, but lacks key details, including how much it actually spent on research and training. While this model is giving America's tech industry a wake-up call, the U.S. still leads in AI infrastructure for business and research.
A 90th birthday with candles, cake, and chicken, all for one loyal Sacramento Chick-fil-A customer who found family in the fast food joint. Madison Kevy with CNN has more on this story.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jerry. Happy birthday to
90 years young, and still, Jerry is the life of the party.
When you walk in today and you see a room full of people here to celebrate you, how do you feel?
Speechless.
Jerry is a staple at the Madison Avenue Chick-fil-A. It's during COVID he met his fast food friends turned family.
Well, I don't know who adopted who. He'd come here every day. And so after a while, we broke the rules. We brought him into our dining room and we just fellowshiped with him and got to know him.
He's just become part of the family.
Yeah. Give it up for Jerry.
Ask anyone at the party about the World War II veteran and friend to all. And it's clear why this community showed up to celebrate.
He has all the jokes. He always has jokes.
Loving, caring, encouraging.
Full of life.
Thank you. Down the hatch.
And he's also got a lot of spice in him, too.
Family found in a Chick-fil-A.
I mean, this biggest family I've ever had.
Now celebrating birthdays, holidays, and the everydays in between.
Madison Avenue, it's a place that we want to be a part of, and that's really like our goal in doing this, is to be a part of our community, to be able to spend special moments like this with them.
And I also want to thank you for giving us a reason to celebrate you, and celebrate this community. I think that's something that we don't do enough, so thank you for that.
Oh, it was my pleasure. And I'm going to keep coming.
That's all the time we have for today. We are excited for another semester of APSU TV.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook at APSU TV Clarksville and Instagram at APSU_TV. Thank you for watching your APSU TV news update. We'll be back next time. And as always, let's go Peay.